Hollywood imagined the perfect alien predator. In 1979, Ridley Scott gave it a terrifying weapon. A second jaw hidden inside its throat. Audiences thought it was science fiction. They were wrong. Nature didn't need Hollywood's imagination. Millions of years before the silver screen, a biological anomaly already perfected this exact design. Meet the moray eel. To the untrained eye, a moray eel hunts like any other underwater predator. It lies in ambush, waits for an unsuspecting target, and strikes with blinding speed. But beneath the surface of that initial bite lies a critical structural puzzle. You see, almost all predatory fish rely on something called suction feeding. They snap their mouths open, creating a powerful vacuum that pulls the water, and the prey, into their gullet. It is highly efficient in open water. But the moray eel lives in a different world. It rules the narrow, high-friction labyrinth of coral reefs and jagged rock faces. If a moray tried to use vacuum suction inside a tight, enclosed cave, the physics would completely fail. The displaced water would simply push the prey away. So, evolution threw out the standard biological blueprint. It built a workaround so terrifyingly efficient, it makes escape mathematically impossible. First, look at how it breathes. That constant, rhythmic gaping isn't a sign of aggression or a theatrical threat display. Because moray eels lack rigid gill covers, or operculums, they must manually pump water through their mouths, and over their gills, just to respire. But this necessity birthed a brilliant predatory advantage. When a moray lunges out of its den, it faces a major hydrodynamic obstacle. Its massive head pushes a pressure wave of water forward, which could alert or displace its target. To solve this, the moray evolved specialized ventilation openings on either side of its primary mouth. As it strikes, the water passes completely through the oral cavity, neutralizing the bow wave. The prey feels absolutely nothing, until the glass-like fangs sink into its flesh. And this is where we encounter the alien within. While the primary, outer jaws hold the prey in a vice grip, they are incapable of swallowing it. The moray's head is locked on the victim. Enter the pharyngeal jaws. For decades, scientists knew that many fish possess pharyngeal teeth, static, bone-like plates deep in the throat used to grind up food before digestion. But until a landmark study by UC Davis in 2007, humanity had no idea that the moray eel had turned these throat teeth into a fully mobile, independent assault system. The moray eel is the only known vertebrate on Earth that uses a secondary set of jaws to actively launch forward and raptorially drag prey down its esophagus. How does this biological piston actually work? The anatomy is a marvel of evolutionary engineering. The pharyngeal jaws are mounted on specialized, highly elongated muscular rails. When the outer teeth make contact, sensory triggers fire an instant command to the throat. In a fraction of a second, the entire upper skull of the eel flexes upward, and the hidden jaws launch forward, across the full length of the head cavity. They erupt into the primary mouth, anchoring the struggling prey. Depending on the species, these teeth are specialized weapons. Take the fong-tooth moray. Its mouth looks like an explosion of broken glass, long, translucent fangs designed to instantly pin slick, erratic fish. Others, like the California moray, feature a row of supplementary teeth, running straight down the center of the roof of its mouth, preventing any lateral or sideways escape. Once both sets of jaws engage, the ratchet effect begins. Every single tooth in the moray's arsenal is curved backward, pointing directly toward the stomach. It is a biological one-way street. If the prey struggles and pulls away, it only drives the backward-facing hooks deeper into its own body. The inner jaws then pull backward, physically winching the live victim down the narrow throat, like an industrial conveyor belt. This dual-jaw system didn't just make the moray a bizarre novelty, it made them the undisputed apex specialists of the reef. Traditional fish need wide, expandable necks to swallow large meals. The moray's mobile throat teeth completely bypassed this constraint. It allowed them to maintain a hyper-streamlined, serpentine, scaleless body covered in a thick layer of toxic, protective mucus secreted by specialized goblet cells. They can squeeze into the sharpest, razor-thin coral crevices, completely protected from abrasions, while possessing the hardware to consume massive prey. And they aren't afraid to use it against the heaviest hitters in the ocean. Giant morays can grow up to 10 feet long and tip the scales at 70 pounds. In the pitch black of the night, they engage in brutal turf wars with reef sharks. Footage has captured morays ambushing sharks, clamping onto their tails, and executing a terrifying, spinning maneuver to physically incapacitate them. When hunting their favorite prey, the octopus, morays deploy a unique tactic known as knotting. Because they lack pectoral fins to hold food down, they tie their own leather-like bodies into a tight, sliding loop, using the physical leverage to rip off octopus tentacles piece by piece. But the ocean always fights back. The octopus possesses a chemical counterweapon. A toxic ink that doesn't just obscure vision, but contains compounds that completely paralyze the moray's highly advanced chemoreception organs. Since morays have incredibly poor eyesight, a direct hit from an octopus's ink blinds their sense of smell for over an hour, forcing the predator to retreat. Even the humble pufferfish has found a way to exploit the moray's rigid structure. When attacked, the pufferfish inflates to twice its size. Because the moray's skull is a fixed, non-expandable trap, the expanding pufferfish jams the system entirely, forcing the eel to spit it out, and look for an easier meal. Yet, despite their nightmare-inducing anatomy and aggressive reputation, moray eels are capable of a level of cognitive calculation, rarely seen in fish. Cross-species cooperation. During the day, when the nocturnal moray is resting, open-water predators like the groupers or roving coral groupers go on the hunt. But when a target escapes into a narrow coral fissure, the grouper is stuck. It swims down to a moray's den and begins a highly specific ritual, vigorously shaking its head right in front of the eel's face. It is a literal invitation to a syndicate. The moray accepts, slides out of its cave, and follows the grouper. If the prey stays in the reef, the moray's slender body slips inside and claims the kill. If the prey flushes out into the open water to escape the eel, the waiting grouper snaps it up. It is a flawless, mutualistic tactical alliance. From the bizarre ribbon eels, which use their mucus as literal cement to build sand bunkers, and change their biological sex from male to female as they age, to the massive apex titans of the deep, the moray family is a masterclass in extreme evolution. They are creatures born from the demands of a high-friction, claustrophobic environment. They defied the laws of underwater physics, turned their own throat bones into high-speed precision machinery, and realized a horror concept millions of years before humanity ever dreamed it up. Once those primary jaws lock, your fate is sealed. The alien within takes over.